Hey, welcome to the Porch Bois podcast. I am, of course, your amazing host. Only adjective I need, I think. John, alongside these other two slightly less amazing co-hosts with me. I've got Midget B here and Siwam. What is up, boys? How have we been? Everything
All good.
copacetic?
Uh,
Seawall has died and is now a zombie.
uh,
Yeah, I guess
pretty
so.
much. Work just kicked my ass today, and I'm pretty
Well,
tired.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here. So I
Midge,
showed up.
Midge, you're gonna have to pull up the slack for me, man.
Well, I mean, we can do that. That's why we're here to do that. So
Yes, because we have
we're
a very
trying,
special
we're trying
episode.
something else out. Yeah, tonight. So trying to have some kind of topical discussion, keeping things somewhat related to one another as we, discuss them.
Quite indeedly. So yeah, what have you guys been up to? Anything you got special planned? I'm mostly asking that second question so I can answer it, but you guys go ahead first.
Yeah, I mean, work kicked my ass this week as well, but I'm glad that that's over. Back to more or less normal now.
Uh,
More or less.
just general stuff, laundry, and chores around the house, and work during the day.
Yeah, we call a certain type of normal around here on the north side.
Yeah.
You
Uh,
know,
so, so
only two murders this weekend.
I was gonna ask how many.
Oh, that's not
So,
bad.
so is it what, one drive by per every other week?
Right, right.
Yeah.
No one was found with their head off in a ditch this week. So
Were found on a park bench.
that's right. They were found on the park bench covered in a tarp.
Oh, boy.
Really down the street from where I was working all week.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta love Jacksonville. Hashtag Duval. That's right.
Hashtag
Getting
Duval.
now. Yeah, parents are like, we don't take our kids to this park anymore because people will be like banging on the swing set and doing shooting up.
No. They're not shooting up. They're giving each other COVID vaccines.
That's
Right.
right. That's right. They're giving
Vaccinating
themselves
each other.
COVID.
This is
Right.
community service.
So yeah, they just found a body in that same park. They were like, "Why don't you just call the police?" Yeah, let's talk more about that later. But why wouldn't you just volunteer your safety to? Why wouldn't you just give up your responsibility for your community to someone who shows up 20 minutes later and by that time the person is gone and oops, well, we have to catch them in the act because
Yeah.
the state requires them to act a certain type of way, of course. So
And even if they do catch them in the act, they have no
hey, get out of
no
here. Yeah.
obligation to help. Yeah, well, yeah, they're under no obligation to put themselves at risk. So, like, what is calling them do even?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have no obligation to help. So, it's fucking so ridiculous. But we can talk about that here in a little bit.
Sure.
But I've got something pretty exciting coming up here.
All right, goddamn, geez, why don't you just you should have just opened with that then.
Well, I was being polite, and letting you guys go
Yeah,
first.
false
But then you had to bum us all out with dead bodies and whatnot, and
false
piss us off with
goddamn
cops.
pretenses.
I was very open about my pretense right at the beginning.
All right, well, get on with it.
Yeah, so as of today, I'm actually officially on vacation until not this Friday, but next Friday.
Wow, 2 weeks.
Well, yeah,
Enjoy it, man.
No
dude, I
shit.
can't wait. And it's a week and a half. A week,
What,
week and 2 days, week and 3 days, 2 days, 3 days. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to Montana. I know I said this last week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in Montana until the following Thursday.
Yeah,
And then I'll
dude,
be back.
don't hurt yourself with all that math.
I know there's way too much math going on. Either way, so next week we will not be doing a Tuesday show. We decided this just before going live that we are in fact going to do a Friday show next week.
How
So
exciting.
Yes, make sure you're there for Friday. We'll be getting into drunken shenanigans.
Well, they will. I might enjoy a drink.
Well, we can do a call-in. We can do a call-in deal. We can do some Cards Against Humanity. We can do some fun shit.
Yeah.
I now have Jackbox
Nice.
on my laptop, so we can potentially play that.
Well, I've got
Won't
Jack.
we get
I think I've got a
copyright
version.
struck like a motherfucker for playing
Yeah,
that
people play it on stream all the time.
No, Jackbox. Jackbox is like it's free advertisement because that's literally their goal at this point is to get streamers to use it, so people buy it.
It's very streamer friendly.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to get waxed
yeah.
Of course not.
again.
Although there's one show that does get whacked, Drinking with the Boys would be a good one.
Yeah,
Because some outlandish shit might be said.
yeah. I just so you know, I've got Jackbox Party Pack 3.
Oh, I actually recently shared with my sister-in-law her Steam account, so I've got I think like 1 through 6.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've got quite a few.
Yeah, but remember, you got to be the one to stream it.
Yeah, well, I can share my screen.
Oh God, that's gonna be so insanely bad. Oh God.
Why would that be bad?
Because remember, I'm the streaming guy.
Okay.
I'm the one streaming all this, so we have to do. We're capturing a stream capture from somewhere else. That's gonna look so bad.
Maybe I've got fast. I got fast internet. I don't know.
Remember the compression in Discord is not the best.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
I cannot see the chat. There it is.
There you go. But yeah, so we'll figure it out off the air though, how we can make that work. But either way, just a reminder though, next week Friday show, sans Tuesday show. So it will not be a Tuesday; it will only be a Friday show. Let's see. Are there any other kind of announcements? Just make sure you join Mijjt every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern for his run-through of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I believe we went through the Forest Temple and did a bunch of other stuff until the game unfortunately crashed.
Oh my God, dude, I'm gonna have to do crap all over again too.
Yeah, that does suck.
As much as I like the game, I don't like having to redo shit.
Yeah, I can't believe it didn't include an autosave feature in the ROM or whatever.
Yeah, in the emulator.
In the emulator, yeah. That would have been a smart thing to do.
Yeah, it also would have been smart to save my progress. So.
Yeah, but how often do you ever think of that? I mean, I don't know about you. My N64 never, ever locked up, crashed, nothing like that. It was like the epitome of gaming working. Yeah.
Peak gaming.
Peak gaming working, not dying and crashing. Anyway, so let's see. Do we have anything else though? I think that's it.
I don't suppose so.
These two guys will be running this 3-ring circus. I'm just here to do the lights basically and occasionally make quips that'll probably not land.
That sounds, pretty much right.
Yep.
Sounds right.
Also, I'll be there with the whip trying to keep you on task because I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed.
All right. So tonight's topic, mostly going to be talking about liberalism and libertarianism. And
loosely.
Mijjt here has finally broken his cherry and read Anatomy of the State. So we'll be discussing that as well before we get into any kind of call-ins that we might or might not have, depending on how the night goes. So that's kind of the rough schedule. Let's say we get started on some of these memes.
So we're looking at the last malarkey, everyone. Pack it in. He's it's over, MAGA bros. It's over, libertarians.
I did like this one.
Yeah.
I saw this one
are we gonna see some badly choreographed fights with missed continuity
You know what actually pissed me off more about that scene than the shitty fighting and, shittiness of it is the fact that this room looks like a soundstage. Like, I understand
Yeah.
it is, but it looks like one too.
Yeah,
That really pissed me off.
imagine a film that costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make looking like this, right?
Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, you don't
couldn't-
understand. You got filtered, John. This is more like a movie about Star Wars movies. This is more
Oh my
like
God.
this is more like a subversion of your expectations. This is
But, okay,
big brain roundhead
I'll
Ryan.
give
Okay,
them that. It definitely
okay,
subverted my
compare-
expectations.
compare this throne room to the throne room in Return of the Jedi. It didn't look
So
like a
it's-
soundstage. It looked
That's
like
the
a spire.
point. That's
It
the
had depth
point.
to it.
Yeah.
There was like actual, like you can see out the window.
Yeah.
So there was something to give it kind of look like
Yeah.
a space station room.
You mean it
As
had
opposed to,
soul?
like, this, it's just- it's got a red screen.
The fucking shit had soul,
Yeah.
and this is soulless corporate trash.
Well,
Very-
and the thing is, look, Dev is not the smartest cookie. He does not he doesn't always hit the nail on the head on things, but he is right about the go woke go broke. Yes, these movies made money, but the thing is, they torpedoed the future of the franchise to get that money.
Right.
Reference Dev, like that's
Yeah.
pretty much common knowledge at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily
And also-
have anything to do with SFO.
Well, yeah,
Also, I think Depp is like on point with most things.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
Yeah.
he recently said the
speaks
whole,
about
what
what he
Biden did to stop the inflation, even though it caused inflation, would have been worse if he didn't do it. It's like, and then a couple weeks later, oh fuck, everything's falling apart, even worse than before.
right. Yeah, I'm not saying he's always right. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, especially with economics, he's Canadian. First of all, he's not going to be good
Yeah.
at economics.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh, and speaking of,
But,
has anyone else
cultural
noticed?
stuff is on point.
Has anyone else gas going down? It's just below $3 now, where I am.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten
Yeah,
gas
whatever.
so.
Oh, it's at record lows for the last 6 months.
Right, for the last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Holy shit.
I don't know if
Please.
they'll be able to keep the prices down just with Russia cutting off European gas supply.
Oh, my Russian gas price hike. The Putin
Yeah,
price hike.
Putin's gas hike, yeah.
Goddamn Russians.
It's inflation. I stubbed my toe the other day and I was like, damn, Putin,
Yeah.
toe stubber.
That's right.
Moving on to the next one, we have a highly accurate depiction of a libertarian debate.
We're going to have one of these.
Uh,
You're a socialist. No, you're a socialist. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes down.
Purity spiral.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You're the no real libertarian fallacy.
So that was just a quick one. I thought, we're moving on to the next one.
Yep.
If we don't regulate morality and behavior, society will collapse. John, would you like to play your part?
You unironically believe it's the government's job to regulate people? Or what people can and can't do?
20 years later. Yeah, I told you so, man. We shouldn't have
Yeah.
allowed degenerates to take over, the institutions and promote.
Yes, but they took
As,
over because we were regulating morality and behavior, not because of a lack of it. We've regulated that morality and those behaviors into the system.
Well,
We say we.
Well, I mean, I'm using
fortunately,
colloquially.
socially,
Gotta
so,
love voting, right? We
well,
voted
fortunately,
for this.
social alienation's at a maximum, and paradigms are shifting, so away from them rapidly.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, so
absolutely. The market will correct itself,
yeah,
whether
exactly.
it be economic
Yeah.
or social.
All they can do is try to slow it down a little bit at this point.
A managed
Yeah.
decline.
Let it plummet.
Yeah.
Free fall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the camp of let's do the controlled crash landing if we can. Hand on the stick instead of just shooting the
No,
pilot
you
and letting
rip
it.
that Band-Aid
Fuck
off.
that.
It's
dude.
gonna hurt so
Control-
much more
Control is
if
what
you
we
do.
got. Yeah, control is what got us here. Like, for fuck's
Right.
sake.
But we're about to fly into mountainous terrain with fog, or we can land in that field over there. It's gonna hurt, but it's not. It's gonna be better than slamming into the side of a mountain where we all die.
I mean, we have a chance of not slamming into a mountain as well.
An exceptionally thin one.
I mean, hey, that's life.
Yeah.
Life struggle.
That's right, dude.
Yeah. Well, moving along to the next one.
I used to be a libertarian. I believed in the idea of granting the left, capital L, the freedom to do whatever they want so long as they let me alone. But then I realized they would never leave me alone and would never extend to me the same freedoms I had extended to them.
See, the problem with these kind of this kind of way of thinking, I should say, it's very so the left has already won, and so that with this person in particular, because he's already thinking like a leftist without meaning to. He's thinking in systems, and he's thinking in institutions.
Well, I think
Right.
this person is thinking from a pragmatic viewpoint here.
Yeah, of
Well,
course.
if they're gonna fucking, if they're gonna use these systems against me, I have to live in a reality where, these systems exist and are designed specifically to fucking impugn on others. So, well, if it's gonna be used against me, I might as well take power and fucking use it against.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
The
it's
left is
straightforward.
the left is their own worst enemy. They think that the paradigm will never shift away from them. Paradigms shift no matter how hard you try to stop it. Hell, trying to stop a paradigm shift is oftentimes the catalyst that makes it shift faster. It's very rare, short of straight up genocide, to stop a shifting paradigm. And when you go straight up genocide, those get messy when your opposition has arms.
Well, yeah, that's definitely for sure true.
Because
The other thing is and then would never extend to me the same freedoms I had extended to them. This is a defeatist attitude, as if they have any kind of way of extending freedom to you, as if freedom is granted. This person I don't think was ever a libertarian, because you would never think like that as a libertarian.
Well, I mean,
they're extending to me freedom, so I'm going to extend to them freedom. Like that's some kind of negotiation. There's no negotiation.
Yeah.
It is my freedom, and you will respect it, or you will not be around long enough to stop respecting it.
Well, yeah, I mean, and another thing is, to kind of go, the whole cancel culture thing. The left has been eating itself for years, canceling each other. And those right wingers going, no, we have to defend that person. I'm going, no. They chose this. They made their bed. What you do is saying, well, that sucks for you. We fucking warned you. You turn it into what I told you so, and wish them the best of luck, and then move on.
You can also turn them into a convert. That happens pretty often.
Yeah.
So much for chiming in. But I mean, you're right, John. I see what you're saying, extending freedom. But I mean, at times it can be an active, conscious decision to not intervene. You object to something. You can tolerate, certain behaviors.
Mm-hmm. And, well, I mean, you can still intervene even without violence. You can still, it can be something as simple as saying, I don't know about all this. No. In a room full of people who also, who were kind of on board but maybe aren't. Like it's like the thing that
be the voice of opposition.
Cowardice is contagious, but so is courage. Right? So all it takes is one person to say, yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And then, other people in the room will do the same thing. Not everybody, but enough to where now we can there's opposition to it.
Yeah,
it's like what we would say, right? With all you have to do is stand up to these people. Don't apologize. Tell them to go fuck themselves, and then what happens? They fuck off.
Yeah, and that's why controlling the message and the narrative is so important these days, because there can't be, again, I've said it a lot in the past, by design we're made to feel isolated, that our feelings are unreasonable, that it's uncouth to feel a certain type of way about the way things are.
Well, Midget, for a time, you were in that for quite a while. You were full-on black pill doomer.
No, you projected that on me because you don't understand sarcasm. But I mean, that's
I don't know.
fine.
I mean, you definitely weren't white pilled, that's for sure. You were definitely in
No,
the
of
black
course
pill
not.
camp.
I'm clown
Yeah.
pilled. Clown pilled.
I think it's fair to say that you were definitely in the black pill camp.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep you were in the camp, but you were definitely there for a little while.
Yeah. And and now you see that, there is hope. There always is hope. It
I
always
don't know
exists.
about all that,
Yeah.
dude. I just don't fucking
Yeah,
pin so much of my mental well-being to it anymore.
Yeah.
Right, which
Don't
is
fucking devote as much
great.
energy to giving a fuck. So I don't know if you call that, being hopeless or more hopeful. It's just I hope less one way or the other. I don't give a fuck.
You're focusing
Like,
more
at
on
this
a
point,
personal level.
Yeah, right. I've stopped
Exactly.
fucking investing so much energy into caring about that crap.
Yeah.
Because I realize like, these mechanisms are in place to preserve themselves, and that nobody matters actually believes in justice. We're all screaming into the void, and that's because the void is being placed between individuals to keep that courage from fucking spreading like a virus through society, to fucking stand up against the tyrannical systems that have, basically built themselves.
But the thing is, if we okay, John, I know you don't like the concept of collectivization, but I'm gonna step into the concept of a social collective. A group of people. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
you
well,
understand the concept.
we're
Yeah.
definitely going to go further into
Yeah.
this when we talk
Yeah.
about the book.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
what
well,
I'm
like,
talking,
this
what
is
I'm referring to is,
absolutely-
you do know that when a virus suppresses the immune system in an organism, its immune system goes into It may take a bit longer to start up, but it'll go into overdrive. I think it's the same thing that's happening now. You are starting to see more and more people saying, "I don't care. I'm going to vote for what I'm going to vote for. I'm not apologizing." And they are forming, their own social collectives and building their own parallel systems, so they can't be easily removed.
Parallel fucking society for sure.
Yeah.
Which is that's the thing, is that's what agorism is.
Yeah.
It's about counter economics. It's about kind of getting away from the state and doing your own thing with other people. That's not collectivist. Collectivist is specifically.
Basically,
Well, no,
fucking ignore and vibe.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
ignore
Well,
and vibe.
what I mean is, people are still banding together though in this. There are smaller
Which is
communities
fine.
forming that are
Which is
making
fine.
connections with other groups. The kind of the right wing
That's
cultural
not-
renaissance that's
not
happening right
that's
now.
not precluded
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, I'm
precluded.
not saying.
So-
Yeah, I mean,
Hang on, see, well, real quick. Collectivism is specifically when
Okay.
a group's rights are put ahead of
Got
the
it.
individual.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of see collectivism and collectives similar. A collective of people, or a
Right.
group of people, or a social collective. But social groups are forming, and they are resisting. You notice how apparently there's already reports that Rings of Power fucking bombed.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
look outside and see that it's raining.
Yeah,
You
exactly. Yeah, and the thing is, they think that the people saying, "Oh, it's over, boys." It's the globalists have won. No, they haven't. Every move they're making now is a desperation move. They are desperately trying to control the power.
I mean, for the last fucking 8 years, it's
Yeah.
been the case.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember the first time Sargon said, "Oh, these are like the death throes of feminism."
Yeah.
And now we've made it
was
to
what,
like
12
4 or
years
5
ago?
generations of terms later.
Yeah, and it's falling apart because feminism is losing to transgender shit.
Well, yeah, so then it became like intersectionality, then
Yeah.
it became, like wokeism, and then like CRT. It's been going under a bunch of different names, but it's the same. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, but the fact that they're shifting so quickly, because remember, second wave feminism lasted for what, 20, 30 years?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
first wave was about 50 years?
I don't know.
Probably
I don't know
longer.
dates.
Yeah, but But we're basically, we went from fourth, fifth wave. They're having to shift the narrative so fast. They can't keep up with it anymore themselves. It's purely
Well, yeah, that's always how it is, though. Yeah, that's always how it is. You always have to be marching progressively more left, and you're leaving people behind.
Yeah.
Like, that happens every time.
Yep. So,
Holy shit, J. Edgar. He has a new... This is not the regular J. Edgar channel.
I was going to say, it's not. He doesn't have a
Jay, I will grant you freedom in my system. You shall have freedom.
No, he goes to the gulag.
But there is no gulag in my system. It doesn't exist.
I'll open a private gulag.
That's
just
right.
for Ed.
Yeah. That's right. You can. I'm sure we can financially incentivize you to gulag the undesirables.
And
oh yeah, we can get more into that.
And I have granted the secondary channel a wrench.
Oh, he doesn't need a
Why
wrench.
would you do that? God damn. Everybody and their mother has a wrench.
Not everybody.
Yeah.
Reveal of Liberty does not have a wrench.
Also, if by some miracle we get big someday, people we trust already have wrenches, so we don't have to worry about that later on.
Plus, Fanny said Sargon never quite got it. I think he's a lot better at it now.
Yeah.
And I think it's impressive that he can do dual political systems. He can keep up with both UK and American politics.
He also has a small team of other guys working with him now, so that probably helps.
But I mean, he's always been good at that.
Yeah,
for as long as I've watched him.
Yeah.
He cares.
I am particularly impressed because I tried to keep up with Irish politics for a little while, and that's a much smaller country.
Yeah.
And much less much less impactful.
Remember, all the good Irish came to the U.S. The ones that remained are what we have today.
Yeah, well, most of them are commies and stuff. But anyway,
a lot of them are African, actually. Well, who's echoing? Which of you?
I don't know.
Is it me?
One of us is. That's for sure.
Yep. So, well,
it might be one of the two of us.
So yeah, okay. So this guy wants to be left alone, but realizes that he won't be left alone by the people he leaves alone to their own mechanisms, where they go ahead and they build themselves a fucking state under which they fucking tyrannize him because he's forced to live in the geographical area over, the monopoly of violence is claimed by this fucking entity. So, I mean, he tries to peacefully divorce himself, but realizes he can't.
Yeah.
So they're leaving him no choice.
He wants to subvert, obviously, the mechanisms and bend them to his own will so that he can physically remove the aspect.
So basically, he's finding no way to dispose of the ring of power yet, so he's gonna use it instead. He's gonna, instead of destroying the sword, he's gonna wield it instead.
Yeah.
Right? It's instead of not committing evil, he's going to commit evil in order to stop evil from happening.
But also the thing is, they've not really given him a choice because they keep building the system bigger. There isn't a place for you to go to. You can't ignore the system anymore because if you do, it will keep growing. The only option now is to subvert the system and weaken it from within. Poison it.
Yeah,
you have to participate to get rid of it. Unless you want to go down the road of forced hard reset, which is going to be exceedingly violent and probably not get you your end goal for very long.
I mean, it is what it is.
How exciting!
Yeah.
So, but we got to move on.
Yeah, we do have to move on. We spent way too much time on this one.
Yep. So.
Would you care to, John?
Oh, you want me to read the wall of text? All right. From the Mises Institute, a quote from Robert Higgs. In regard to the so-called social contract, I have often had occasion to protest that I haven't seen the contract, much less been asked to consent to it. A valid contract requires voluntary offer, acceptance, and consideration. I've never received an offer from my rulers, so I certainly have not accepted one. And rather than consideration, I have received nothing but contempt from the rulers, who, notwithstanding the absence of any agreement, have indubitably threatened me with grave harm in the event that I fail to comply with their edicts. Yes. So this is another huge reason why what the previous uh, tweet, I guess I don't want to call it a meme because it's
Yeah.
just a screenshot of a tweet.
Yeah.
That's why that doesn't work for me, because you're still taking control of the social contract and saying you are under my thumb now, or under my boot. It's now a right boot instead of a left boot. To me, there's no difference.
But what if you use the right boot to destroy the boots for good?
Right. What if we use the Ring of Power for good?
Well, no. No, you use the Ring of Power to destroy the Ring of Power.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Because the thing is, the thing is the ring. Because the thing is,
for that.
Dude,
That's not how it works.
Even Frodo used the ring in the process of destroying it.
Exactly. And
I mean, slightly. Just slightly, though.
Yeah, but again, also the thing is,
to a degree that it was necessary.
Yeah, and the thing is also, John, the Ring of Power is a physical object. The state is an idea. There is no Mount Doom to chuck the state into to destroy it instantly. It is a slow, laborious process. Yes, it is an allegory for power. But the thing is, people can be resistant to the temptation of power. They exist.
They really don't.
Yeah.
Like,
I said not to resist it. To resist it, not to prevent corruption entirely.
Them reigns of power.
Loud them reigns.
Well.
Anyway, so yes, we've not signed a social contract. I do not owe the state anything. Anything that they take from me is not with my consent. And it's Seawall who is echoing, and the state robs everyone. And anything that they have is illegitimately owned by them. There you go.
Well, they lay claim to it by the very idea that it exists within the borders upon which it claims a monopoly on violence.
Right. It lays claim to it, but that claim is illegitimate. Is the point?
I mean, we can get into that.
We should soon.
Well, moving along to the next one.
Yeah.
Something that is dangerously based over here.
I think I could not find this account.
You think he's been bananated?
It's possible.
Did you try and find like a campaign?
No, I didn't go that deep into it.
That's too bad. Let's just appreciate this for what it is for a moment, though, shall we?
Okay. Yep, it's a suspended account. I did some digging.
Oh, yeah. I wonder why he got suspended. Yeah. I wonder if the FBI.
Well, I love one of the statements here, because this is clearly in response to it. How does this plan fit in with being Christian? Well, didn't Jesus say, defend yourself, have a sword?
Right.
Yeah, sell your cloak and buy a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought a peace but a sword.
Yeah.
Well, that's not even the point, though. But
yeah.
I'm looking at a whole bunch of people responding to the screenshot, being like, Ron DeSantis, Marco Rubio, and Rick Scott all support Republican Louis Miguel for Florida State House. Like, not supposed to be a good thing, of course.
Right.
Right now, calling for violence of federal employees is unhinged and despicable. No, it's not.
They're doing that Pied Piper bullshit. Like, they really have been for like 8 months. They're trying to do that Pied Piper bullshit. Like, oh, we're going to associate you with these crazy extremists.
But it hasn't worked.
Will just find you too distasteful to vote for you.
But it hasn't worked.
Hey, let me finish. Okay. Even though they fucking represent the interests of their constituents, they're going to be too wacky and zany for the taste of the average voter, is their fucking bet. Okay, so, like, obviously it's a tactic, and this is going to be astroturfed. But the Luis Miguel quote itself, he seems pretty to stand behind it. And as John was saying, is this really like the threat of a crime? Or is
No.
this the threat of, what do the leftists call it? Self-defense, right? Community self-defense.
Community
Proactive
defense.
self-defense is what some
That's
call it.
right. Community self-defense. We're just standing up for ourselves.
But also in a legal sense, him saying under my plan, all Floridians will have permission is not an incitement to violence in the current moment.
And
right?
also,
He's not saying you guys go
you
do
could,
this.
yeah,
No.
right.
He's
Because
not
you
saying you
don't
should
currently
do
have
this.
permission to do that.
Yeah. He
He's
says,
saying, should I be elected under my plan?
I through the legal
You have
process will
permission
make
to do
this legal.
There's
Right.
there's like 3 steps of separation between
Right,
me
between
saying
this
and violence.
statement and violence.
Right.
Right, and that supposes that like he actually not only wins his seat, but enough people who think like him win the seat, and
Right. That his plan is enacted.
Right, there you go, and then that the governor signs on to it.
And then it's not shut down by a federal judge.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's almost fucking positively bound to happen.
Right.
Imagine that. Imagine the federal state like standing up, like being like, "You can't. This is unlawful against my laws. You can't fucking you can't stand up to me, for yourself against me. That's against the law that I wrote.
Right. That's against my interest. Hey, that's against my interest.
But is it not against the people in the state's interest to keep the IRS from collecting?
I think it is in their interest, but it's not in the IRS's interest, so therefore it can't happen. They must be allowed to collect all 87,000 more. These motherfuckers.
They can collect something, all right.
You can collect these nuts.
Well, moving along to the next one.
Rob Reiner, filmmaker and intellectual.
While you go through this, I'm going to grab me some more whiskey. BRB.
No more whiskey, John. Only water.
All the whiskey.
This midterm, there is no gray area. You either have to vote for democracy or fascism. That's it.
Got it. So I guess he means we want to vote straight down ballot Libertarian Republicans because the Democrats are acting like fucking fascists. Well, they are, but
Say, weren't we discussing last week what fascism was and what sorts of things we were seeing happen every fucking day as the state just gets comfier and closer to these, massive corporate entities, and they interplay off one another. Is that also a vote for fascism? Is business as usual, right? Sam Harris.
Right. Also, do remember though, as we go through the next few screenshots here, always read our democracy as our hegemony.
Well, this one we turn it on its head to make fun of them.
We have a few word filters for you to apply in your mind. Apply word filters. So are we going to take a look at the next one then?
Yep, next one.
You got to kind of push through these.
If you don't want a civil war, says Kathy Griffin, intellectual and comedian.
If you don't want a civil war, vote for Democrats in November. If you do want a civil war, vote Republican.
Okay, I'm going to say this right now, this tweet is unironically based.
Yeah, I mean...
Because, technically speaking, I would argue that it doesn't matter. I don't think it doesn't matter I don't think it matters which one you vote for. I think civil war is pretty much inevitable at this point.
Well, you can also read it either way.
Yeah.
This is that fucking meme. This is that fucking meme. Who radicalized you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you did.
You did.
Well, no, it's funny though because you can read this both ways, right? If you don't want a civil war, vote Democrats because they're not going to let it happen. If you do want a civil war, vote Republican because they'll make it happen. Or if you don't want a civil war, vote for Democrats and we won't engage in one. If you do want a civil war, vote Republican and we'll come after you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly. It reads as a threat, doesn't it? Like there's an implication here. What are you implying here, Kathy?
Right. Which way am I supposed to read this?
Yeah.
Too vague. Instructions unclear. Voted libertarian. Shit.
Yeah. You vote. You vote Perot.
Green Party.
No, you vote. You vote Perot.
Bro,
Yeah. Ross Perot. You write in Ross Perot. Moving
He
on.
was getting like 9 to 11%
Yeah.
every time he showed up.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
Oh, more from Mr. Reiner.
Rob Reiner. It's simple. Prosecute Trump or end democracy.
Yeah, they wouldn't go this hard after Trump if he wasn't a threat to their hegemony.
Well, he has been. Yeah.
And it's amazing that a reality TV show star that is a moderate reformer, just because he says, fuck you, I don't care.
Just because he actually does the shit that the same mass presidents have been promising to do for 20 years. Like, oh, you mean that thing that we promised you and that's why you voted for us, but then we proceeded to business as usual? There's no way you would ever lash back against that given the opportunity. Wouldn't you just vote? Yeah, why? Wouldn't you just vote for more business as usual?
No.
Oh, look at this Pied Piper candidate, everyone. There's no way people would find him acceptable. Oh my god, they actually want these things. These people must be evil fascist Nazis who hate democracy.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're seeing patterns. Anyone?
Jason Stanley.
I have no idea who this is.
Oh, he's an intellectual. Look at his physiognomy.
You can tell he's definitely an intellectual, yeah.
Like egghead for sure. Look at that dense, curly, dark hair.
And we learned about intellectuals, did we not, Mijjt, in the book that we discussing him?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, they do get a niche, don't they? They serve a certain role.
And as you're reading these, do you not see them fulfilling that role?
Oh, naturally. Yeah, they're playing their role quite nicely. Good Goyen. Good Goyen. I haven't been focused as much as I should have been on supporting trans rights in the last 12 months. So please accept my apologies for being silent and not protesting enough and not about LGBTQIAPQRSTUV. I now realize that this is where the fight for global democracy is. There is no avoiding it.
Global hegemony. There it is.
Well, you're right. I mean, this is kind of like, I read this as being Ukraine related. Because like that is what they're talking about. Like Ukraine is super tolerant. Ukraine as a state.
As off battalion.
It stands for this, Western liberal, ultra liberal, global, cultural, fucking global homo. I mean, there's no. It's a great term. Like it encapsulates everything that they want and believe in. Like just a global, homogenous, ultra liberal, gay tolerant, pedo apologetic, like hyper consumerist, non-identitarian society. That's capable of being ruled by a handful of technocratic billionaires using AI and fucking planned economies and shit.
But the problem is the economy is so complex, even the best financial AI still can't predict it.
Well, they don't believe that there is a human or non-quantifiable aspect to life, or that there oughtn't to be, and that humanity should transcend that.
Well, no, we're naturally irrational creatures.
They don't feel the same way because they don't have souls.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is to
Yeah.
experience
Well, I mean,
like love, joy, and like
what
they're
was it?
sociopaths.
I think I've mentioned this before, that the concept of the new Soviet man, the Soviets realized that their system was fucked, and instead of reforming the system, no, we need to reform the people.
Well, there you go.
And look at what happened to them.
Working on reforming people now for 30, 40 years.
And it's backfiring. LGBT tolerance is going down, not up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's still trending upwards, but it definitely has taken a
It's
spike down. It's definitely gone down.
Yeah.
In recent times, past 2 years or maybe a little bit more.
Well, and the thing is, they made a massive mistake. The thing is, if they just had the LGB and they just had that would probably just, people wouldn't care eventually. They got their rights.
Also, if it wasn't shoved in your face and they weren't shoving their genitals in your kid's face and all this kind of shit, it would not be a problem.
Yeah, but can we get rid of the TPIA?
Yeah.
Can we just do away with them? Can we put them somewhere? Can I incentivize someone to open a private gulag? Sequester these individuals and
only if we bring people in and out of it via trains.
Meaningful work.
And only if those trains are on time.
Exactly.
Right.
So scooting along.
All right, Tom Elliott. I'm pretty sure he's like an actor.
Yeah.
I've heard that name before. I don't fucking know. Well, I can't keep track of all these fucking people. Way too many of them.
If you go on Facebook on a daily basis, the posts with the most engagement are from Ben Shapiro, Don Bengino, and Real Candace Owens. It should scare us the most that Ben Shapiro's Real Daily Wire has more followers than the NYT or CNN. That is a problem for democracy.
See, always, if you read it as
our
a problem, that's a problem for our hegemony. And it is. He is 100%
it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, except for Ben Shapiro. I mean, Ben Shapiro, I don't think is that.
He's missing link media.
This Pfeiffer faggot, you guys, is a former intelligence official. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And he's on fucking media, right? For his. Yeah, absolutely. You are so correct, John, because this guy is literally an apparatchik of the state, and he's going on media saying, yes, this is a threat to our control over your minds.
Right.
Yeah.
Over your loyalty to us.
Well, I mean, guys, if you wanted to maintain loyalty, maybe you should actually listen to what the people want and implement it.
Maybe they should be worthy.
Yeah, look, it's simple. If you actually, come through on promises and, listen to the people's concerns, address it as best you can.
That's not their interest.
Yeah.
See, that's why I like feudalism. That's why I like feudalism, because, you do have obligations in society.
Yeah.
Each class to the other. There are obligations to be fulfilled, and there's strong pressure to fulfill those fucking obligations. And a king can be seen, at least in the Anglo sphere, can be seen as being just or adhering to laws that are higher than man. Right? And that there is such a thing as a just rule, and it's not one that's just whatever the king fucking says. That's an English Anglo spheric tradition, I would say.
Well, I think a lot of it was religious in nature.
Right? Well, Christianity and European culture are pretty deeply intertwined at this point after the last 1800 fucking years.
The idea of fellowship, those sorts of things. There was definitely some kind of obviously obligation to the different classes, but
there's strong motivation to fulfill those obligations.
That's true, especially from an optics standpoint.
Yeah, and that's what in an honor society that's chiefly
the most
important
thing. Yeah,
right?
which is what I'm saying. Yeah, and I think an honor society, completely shitty thing to have. I don't know if it's ideal. I haven't worked through all of that kind of stuff, but Yeah, I
It's-
mean, in a world where your reputation is everything, then your
Well, I
reputation
mean,
is important, and it behooves you to not be a piece of shit.
well, yeah, there you go. When there exists no state to enforce that on you,
Right.
you've got to
That's
have
what
like
you have.
okay, and
All
also
you
there's
have is
no
your word as
fucking
man.
money, right? And there's no such thing as fucking money, okay? Or like, you can only trade in goods or barter. There's no money, so your word is
Well,
your worth.
I don't
remember,
think
money
yeah.
formed separate from states. States just
Sure.
adopted it.
Yeah, I
People
mean,
later on.
decided on a
Yeah.
medium
Yeah,
to
of trade.
right.
Yeah,
Because
a
money is
holder of
important.
value. Yeah.
It's a store of value, and
Yeah.
I always like the phrase. It's so you don't have to cut the chicken in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like that's what
Here's
money's
the value
for.
of half a chicken. Like,
Yeah.
you can get a fucking egg with this, and 50-50 shot, you'll get a chicken out of that egg. Like,
Right.
that's the deal.
Right.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. As I said, it's.
I mean, money can still
yeah.
exist. Currency can exist
Yeah.
without a state.
Yeah, it's just,
There's no-
the state is arguably efficient at creating.
But that's
currency.
what I'd like to. That's the sort of thing I want to get into about Anatomy of the State, John. Is like chiefly one of my main contentions is his desire to atomize society all the way down to the level of the individual. Like, it's got to be more than that. There's got to be fellowship between people. There's got to be a sense of community. More on that later. Like,
Yeah.
So we can definitely talk about that. I think I understand what you mean, and I think I've already got an answer for you.
Well, I mean,
right.
look, I'll play a little devil's advocate because I'm the filthy fucking statist here. I haven't read Anatomy of the State, but I'm assuming that Anatomy of the State does not preclude the concept of honor among people.
Well,
It
It just
we
doesn't
touch
talk
on
about it because it's focusing on something else.
Of
right.
course,
No,
and that's
that's
why
exactly
I
what
say
it
it's like extremely Jewish. Super Jewish.
It's in a vacuum, as it were. It's
Well,
very
no, so
cerebral.
What it does is it's literally the anatomy of the state. It
Yeah.
lays out what the state is not, what the state is, what the state fears, what the state does, how the state interacts with other states. Like, it lays out how a state operates. So he's not even putting in
From a certain
any kind
point
of
of
like,
view.
this is how things should be. There's no,
Yeah,
there's no
how things
there
are.
prescription.
is
This
no,
is-
yeah,
this
there is no
It's entirely
prescription.
descriptive.
Yeah.
It's descriptive, not prescriptive.
Yeah. So.
So that's all it is. And it's just not one book. He's got a whole plethora of other books that lay that out. So I would recommend reading those. I just say that, starting with Anatomy of the State is the best way to kind of, it's the best way to start on shedding that last bit of statism that might be inside somebody, is to just,
Abby's first subversive text.
Yeah.
Right.
Moving on to the next one.
I like Quest Fanning quoted me here. It behooves you to not be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
John N.
Yeah, and then here's another one. Disinformation is a threat to our democracy, and will continue to be unless we work together to address this. Tune in and as I share some thoughts on what we can all do now.
Tune in to Barack Obama as he shares thoughts on what we can do about disinformation, challenges to hegemony in the digital information realm.
Yeah.
The keynote address being given by
The thing
Obama
is, there is
Foundation.
there's a two-word instant fix to all disinformation. Speak truth.
Yeah, there you go. I'm with it.
Yeah. If you speak truth, disinformation fails. They say, what was it? A lie goes around the world twice before the truth can get its boots on. I think that's a bit of a misnomer. Information, before the truth and fact can be spread, information gets out there. Sometimes information is factual. When it, something.
Well, they have their three different definitions. So they've got misinformation, which is where it's unintentional.
Yeah.
They have disinformation, which is intentional, and malinformation, which is intending to cause harm.
Yeah.
That's right. Meant to mislead.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, disinformation is meant to mislead. Malinformation, which is very rarely seen it used to describe
like-
what it is.
Yeah.
And that's when you're intending to cause harm through information.
So.
Like telling people to have horse paste.
Right, that would be malinformation.
Well, that was what.
Or shove a light bulb up their asses.
When in
Right.
actual fact,
Or
Trump was
drink bleach.
inadvertently referencing a blood treatment from the 1950s that did work. It became
Right.
less popular because antibiotics got better. It
Yeah,
was obsolete.
What I'm saying is true. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is that's what they're calling.
Yeah.
Those are their like levels of threats to our hegemony.
Yeah.
Right there is
Yeah.
fucking misinformation, disinformation,
Well,
and
guys,
malinformation. They use them three different ways.
Make your tax-deductible donation to the Obama Foundation today. Maybe you'll get appointed in the next regime's cabinet.
No, you won't.
Yeah, that's right. You won't, but we'll take your money.
Yeah. Moving on to the next one.
Anders Haslund. If Hungary really votes overwhelmingly, no less, against democracy and for corruption, I cannot see why it should be accepted in the EU. Kick it out.
Anders, I'm not even going to use your last name because you're a fucking retard. Little bit of information here. Democracy is whoever has the most votes wins. That's its definition. That means the communists can win, the fascists, the libertarians. It means whoever gets the most votes wins.
That's not what democracy means. We know this now.
That's right.
Yeah.
If we apply our
Disillusioned
word
ourselves.
filter, if we
Right.
apply
Yeah.
our word filter,
Oh, yeah.
if we put on our they live glasses,
Yeah.
and we agree with it,
If they tweaked that movie a little bit more, it would have been more interesting and more useful.
well, the fucking director was a communist, so
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he inadvertently tapped into something he didn't realize.
Well, naturally, these people often open cans of worms that they don't
Yeah.
foresee in their fucking self-righteous, fucking intentions.
Yeah.
They just step on
Yeah.
landmines of dog shit.
Well, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're saying today. Even if it gets brought up, 5 years from now, when they're I'm sorry, no, hang on. If it gets brought up next week when they're saying the exact opposite thing, it won't matter. Like it just doesn't matter. They're like, no, this is the thing. This is what we're.
There was a
That's what
book
we're
written
saying now.
about shit like that. I think it was called My Struggle or something.
Yeah.
But but on top of that, like aside from My Struggle, the thing about it is you can't accuse them of not making art, right? In the process, like they're trying to convey an idea, but they unintentionally portray it in. It's got soul, right? And for that reason, it's interpretable by many different perspectives.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, they are making art, at least back in the day. These
Yeah.
days, they're not making art. Obviously, they're making
they're
propaganda
making
and
homunculi, facsimiles.
right,
that
of
replicate.
art. But like back
Yeah.
in the day when they were trying to make these statements through cinema and literature, they ended up making statements they didn't intend, and that's because they were genuinely making art.
Well, not only that, but you can almost argue maybe deep down their subconscious knew they were full of shit.
Well,
And
that's
they-
the
yeah.
human condition.
Yeah.
That's humanity reaching out. That's why I'm saying it has soul. Like there's still soul to it. It's just the people had a skewed perspective, but the truth ended up coming out in the art. And that's what's cool
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And these days it's not the case. We don't get Kino anymore. We don't get like proper
We don't get art.
Yeah, we
We don't get art anymore.
It's all corporate, oblong, shapes and solid colors and fucking. It's global homo art.
Yeah.
We can enjoy some of that next episode if you'd like. On
Yeah.
Friday, we'll look through global homo art.
Well, next one.
If France elects a far-right nationalist that pals around with Putin in the middle of Russia's illegal war on Ukraine, democracy is in peril.
Okay.
Oh my god, there's so much going on here.
Okay, first
Okay.
off, technically speaking, is there such thing as an illegal war?
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like, is every war is either illegal or every war is either
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a
Well,
legal war.
okay. You can argue
Yes,
that if
guys,
somebody
let me-
declares
let me-
war
let
on
me-
you,
let me point
African
something
or-
out
Yeah.
right here on this point. Let me just real quick point
Yeah,
something
yeah,
out right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
If you have global hegemony, then there can be such thing as an illegal war. There is
Yeah.
something
that's
that makes
true.
war against
Yeah.
that fucking hegemony or ideology or fucking dominant culture.
As evidenced.
That right there is evidence that these people take this fucking thing in Ukraine as
Mhm.
everything against the West. This is a war on Western ideology. Right there. They just
Right.
fucking laid it out, this bitch, this Jew.
Yeah.
Right here. Laid it out.
So yeah, Russia's illegal war, and then as illegal as evidenced by our democracy, our hegemony being in
That's
peril.
right. In
Yeah.
peril, that's
Yeah.
right. And again, as the anatomy points out, like any assault on its existence or hegemony is existential and must be fucking, in all mechanisms.
Well, it's
Well,
the dissident voices that he talks about in the towards the end of the book.
Yeah.
Rothbard's talking about like dissident voices needing to be shut down, and then having all the mass propaganda so that everyone's on the same page, so that dissident voices are easier to shut down. That's what all of this is.
What we talk about every week.
Right. What we talk about every week is fucking dissident voices. Or being the dissident voices, I guess.
No, that feeling of isolation.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. And it can be damning to your mental health, as you were talking about, I believe at the top of the show.
Yeah,
You're saying
so
that, like, you
rather
just-
than investing energy in it, I've decided to just ignore it and vibe, dude. I'm just gonna do
Right.
me, and it works for us. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna fuck with people who do them, and it works for them. And
Right.
if you
That's
can't,
how you do an
I fuck
anarchy
with
right
you.
there. That's how you do an anarchy. Like, I mean,
Oops, I did an anarchy.
whoops, sorry.
I was black pilled, and then I did an anarchy.
That's right.
Well, scooting along to the next one.
Matthew Chapman. I don't even know who this fucking checkmark is. But is there a follow up to this? Isn't there?
Yes,
This
there's
is
the
one
next
to follow up?
one. Yeah.
All right.
The explosion of accounts all simultaneously saying some variant of Biden gave money to Ukraine but didn't give money to black people in Mississippi water doesn't seem organic. Seems like a coordinated misinformation campaign at this point.
Oh, really? Oh,
Right. No,
as
before
if there
you
might be
follow
bots
up.
on Twitter that are trying to, steer the
Yeah,
conversation
thank
at a
you.
moment's
Yeah, what are
notice.
you implying, Mr. Chapman? What are you implying that it
Oh my
might be
God.
more than 5% fucking bots on Twitter? You wouldn't be implying that, would you?
Well,
For real,
okay.
the iron law of woke projection, it never,
never
ever
misses.
Never.
Speaking of, dude, like this itself is gaslighting because it is a coordinated misinformation campaign to gaslight people into thinking that feeling as though, we're spending too much money in other countries and inflating our currency to no benefit to ourselves is somehow a crazy idea, right? And that you must be uncouth for thinking it.
Yeah.
Right? Again, you're being gaslit to think that you're alone and are not, your feelings
Well,
are.
the problem is they're also
unreasonable.
targeting a fairly, I wouldn't call them collectivist, but a very tribal group. Because the thing is, I don't think those are bots creating those statements. At least not many of them. I think those are actual accounts. It's just they act like bots because they are programmed people.
Oh, so
They're the BLM
that's
crowd.
definitely the case.
They're the
That's
BLM
definitely
crowd.
the case. And that, because I see it on the right as well, when people use the same exact arguments for the same exact arguments that are made on the left. Anytime you see, our democracy is in peril or whatever. How many you can go on the thread, comment thread, you'll see tons of right wing people being like, "Well, it's a good thing we're not a democracy and we're a constitutional republic." As if that fucking matters, right? As if that's what we're talking about. Like,
It's a
but
semantic argument.
Right. Well, yeah. It's like, okay, that doesn't help. It doesn't add anything to this. Like all you're doing is just saying, "Oh, you're a dumb lib," because
Whereas,
like you think we're a
a better argument would be,
democracy.
well, if 51% of the people say they want this, that is democracy.
That's a
That's
pretty
a better argument.
hip ray argument.
Yeah.
But no, on top of that, like this Matthew Chapman guy understands that the capital B black people in Mississippi are genuinely a weak point. Like it's a fucking glaring hypocrisy in their dogma, like versus their practice.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
So like
there's a
he
reason.
has to gaslight against this. It
Well,
has to
remember-
be fought against ahead of time. It has to be gotten.
Remember, they
in front
also
of.
don't want to fix problems at home, because if they fix problems at home, they got nothing to campaign on.
Well, of
Yeah.
course they're fucking grifters. You know, fucking isn't most of Mississippi run by like blacks? I don't know.
No. Mississippi
lot
is a
of these
Republican
places
state.
really are.
Well, it's
A
a
lot of these
Republican
places,
state,
yeah.
but the city
But the
is
fucking
Democrat.
city is
Right.
black.
Yeah,
like,
which
top to
means
bottom.
which I believe means it's a blueberry in the tomato soup. It's kind of funny how the blueberry that claims
Well,
it cares
they're
about
all
people has the
mad.
worst water.
Well, it's also
Well,
big
yeah.
cities though
Yeah.
that are also blue. That would
Yeah.
big cities would have less infrastructure maintenance than most other places. So there's kind of a few things going into it. It's not all just like,
Well, no,
oh,
cities
such
have
and
more
such
complex
controls this
infrastructure
place.
that
Like it's not so much
requires multiplicative more maintenance. It's not
Well,
linear.
yeah.
It's a fucking graph.
It requires way more
yeah.
maintenance than
Parabolic,
anywhere
whatever,
else. Yeah.
or logarithmic.
So let's
I
get
believe.
to the follow up.
Yeah. Let's get to the follow up.
For the record, this seems like exactly the kind of propaganda point Russian troll farms would want to spread to try to divide the Democratic Party over whether it's a good idea to commit more money to defending Ukraine. Try to foster racial resentment over it.
That looks like cognitive dissonance to me.
Oh,
on the
hardcore
point of
cognitive
Mr.
dissonance,
Chapman
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Not only that, but guys, you do realize that in history, when nations focus on foreign wars for petty reasons and ignore domestic issues, that's how revolutions start. It is almost 100% of the time when they don't
I
when
don't
the state isn't correct. Because I know when social alienation gets high enough and you aren't fixing the problem. Because I know what was it? Oh yeah, what was it? That was one of the biggest causes of the French Revolution. Them supporting the American Revolution at the cost of their own people. You know, where
I
they
mean,
would,
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
The main thing was it was at the cost of their own people, but it wasn't due to ignoring them.
Yeah.
It was due to the excessive taxes they levied on them so that they can pay the debts for that war.
Yeah.
And I believe, it was the French and Indian War, and then
No. I'm talking about the French Revolution after the American one.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it was both the French and Indian, and then the subsequent American Revolution, a number of years after that. So it was two wars on a continent over that caused them to go into a shitload of debt, and then they levied taxes on the peasants, so much so that they were starving, and they weren't able to get food. They weren't able to, have their own kind of economy, which they had enjoyed for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
The serfs and the peasants did very well in France for a very long time, until around then. And then when they saw that the nobility wasn't suffering alongside them, that kind of ended the whole "we're all French" deal, and heads literally started to roll.
Yeah. And we're seeing that right now in the U.S. The regular people are suffering, but the big people go, no, just let them eat cake.
Let them drive Teslas.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, so the let them eat cake thing, we're not 100% sure if that's a real thing.
Yeah. The sentiment.
Propaganda, but it could have. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. But it looks like it's not.
Yeah.
But now the let them drive Teslas, I mean, that's on video. Like,
it's on fucking video.
Like,
yeah. But not only that, but remember, the cost to recharge a Tesla is approaching or exceeding the cost of filling up a tank of gas in some situations.
Yeah, I've seen the autism. It checks out.
Yeah. So moving along.
You've seen the autism.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the last thing so we can start talking about this book because we gotta hurry up. So we're gonna take at least one call. We've got Highleaf waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about checking the temperature of refrigerated trucks all night.
Yeah.
I suppose you could.
Jeremy Wayne Tate, more like Jeremy Wayne Hot Take. This is the first time I heard somebody say the Department of Education should not exist. I thought they were nuts. Then they asked me to list just one academic metric that has improved since its inception in 1980. I couldn't. Nobody can.
Yeah.
How do you like that? It's not even like an age-old, aged, venerable institution.
Right.
It's like
People assume it has been because
It's been around for 40 years.
Right.
Yeah,
2 generations.
Well, it was around 15 years before I went to school.
Well, yeah, it only takes one generation to demoralize a fucking society, dude. It only takes one generation to demoralize a culture.
And it was also, what was it? I think less than 10 years before H.W. Bush did the, was it the Head Start program in schools? And then 10 years later, or 11 or 12 years later, it was George W. doing the No Child Left Behind.
That's right. Head Start, and then no, they're being left behind. Like
it's like the George Carlin joke, right? Where somebody's losing fucking ground here.
That's right. Somebody's losing fucking ground here.
Yeah,
Damn it! Back when leftists were funny and like attacked
Principled?
ideas. Yeah, right.
Yeah, actually principled. You mean like they weren't? Yeah, well, he was just like a hippie. Kind of like
Bill Maher. Yeah.
Right. They weren't fucking Bill Maher. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Goddamn Harris.
Oh, yeah. Or Sam Harris. Yeah. Fucking, I don't know. I mean,
Remember when fucking Jason would hold him against me?
What, Sam Harris?
Yeah, he'd be like, "Oh, look what Sam Harris came out and said."
Oh, dude, he's done that to me a bunch of times.
You're right. Look what he came out and said. You like him, don't you? It's like, dude, yeah, I fucking used to, like, back when I was a retard.
Right. When Andrew Tate got arrested for, like, sex trafficking or whatever, he, like, messaged me that, and he was like, lol. And I was like, I literally have no idea who this fucking guy is. Like, why are you sending this to me?
Right, dude.
I'm like, I have no idea who this guy is. Like, what are you talking about? And then he referenced like a conversation that we had when he was on Tom Segura's podcast, Your Mom's House. And I was like, dude, this dude's based or whatever. And I was like bantering with him. I was like, oh, you just hate him because he makes his money in his own way, not the state approved way. And like, I was, because he's like total tanky.
Oh, he fucking is. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. And I was just like,
it's so awful.
I was like, yeah, you just hate him because of this. And so he screenshot those texts and sent to me. I was like, dude, I'm fucking with you. I was like, dude, I don't know who this fucking guy is. Like, I just
bad faith.
Oh my god, it's so dumb. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Wow. But like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah. That's the end of our memes here. We can go back to our little porch.
We're back on the porch already.
Well, I like that we've covered most of what I feel like a lot of our material that we went through does touch on some of the subjects of the book that we're talking about. Obviously, we were talking about the state, defending and sustaining itself. Dude, the first thing that struck me about this book was that it was written. I can't say it any other way. It's deeply rooted in the culture of critique. It immediately reminded me of the writing of Howard Zinn. Like it goes on the attack against contradictions, which admittedly are fucking true, right? I can't fucking argue against his examples being wrong, but they are from obviously a very strong perspective. Okay, and so right, so it's a succinct work, but dude, I have to use the descriptor. It's Jewish. It's
Okay.
It's
But I mean,
subversive. It's
yes,
subversive.
it's subversive against the state. Is that a
Yeah,
bad thing? I
not
mean,
necessarily. I'm just describing it now. I'm just
okay.
using words to fucking describe my experience with it. I mean,
Okay, fair
obviously,
enough.
his
Go
first page two was oy vey. Like,
ahead.
so I'm
Let me grab it
saying,
real quick.
yeah,
Page
like,
2. It's actually page 10 in mine, but okay.
yeah, so, like, never, or page two was never again. You know what I mean? The reference I'm making,
Um,
um,
oh, well,
but,
because he mentioned Hitler and the Nazis. Right. So, to
you
be fair,
know,
this was
wolves,
1974.
wolves and a sheep voting what to have for dinner. That was basically his argument. Like,
Well, yeah,
for
so he's
what
talking about.
democracy.
So this is actually really important, though. Because, yeah, that's what he's talking
Obviously,
about with the collective term of government, not democracy, even. But government itself, a little bit of democracy, right? Because he's talking about the United States government. But it's basically, yeah, he's saying that if we are indeed the government, and I've got the page open right now.
yeah, sure,
Um,
of course you do.
he's saying like if we are the government, then anything that a person does or anything the government does to a person, he is doing to himself because he is the government, right? As he's basically just saying how nonsensical it is that the
Well,
government and the
it's
person is the same.
it's a rhetorical attack, and that's why I go back to it's Jewish.
Okay, I
It's
mean, but is it wrong,
it's
right? Like,
no, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's very thoroughly constructed. It's rooted in the culture of critique.
okay,
Like,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't have a problem with that. But okay.
it's just an observation. It was
Okay.
immediately struck me, dude. I have a sense for these things. They
Well,
just,
yeah. So Rothbard is a Jew. I think you already
I
knew
know
that.
it. Yeah. But like,
Going
I'm
into
just
it, you knew that.
saying, now that we recognize this, like, there is a, God damn it, dude. There's like, there's like a, what is the word I'm looking for? There's a constituent, like, there's a freaking physical, like, geez, I'll come up with it later. The term I'm looking
Okay.
for, but yeah, there is definitely like, oof. There's a whole feeling of it. But again, like I said, I can't fault his examples as being untrue. I definitely can't attack them. But what I do definitely object to is the boiling down of him pushing everything down to the individual, the absolute individual.
Hmm.
As like, because my argument would be like, if the individual can divorce himself from the state, then the individual can divorce themselves from their own family. And
Yes.
obviously, in practice, allegorically, that can be good or bad. But
Yeah, of
like,
course. It
to
is. Yeah.
what degree? I mean, what is the fucking constituent atomic, element of society? Like,
Well, I
is
mean,
it the family or is it the individual? We have to form, and what we were talking about earlier with the
mhm,
fucking shit posts we were going through was like, there's got to be a level of community and agreement to live a certain type of way, and a familial, like, relationship between people
right.
that ties them. There's got to be a bond, like, and that's constructive. Even in Anatomy of the State, he mentions that, like, specialization, the trade between people of their productivity, you know
Right.
and with raw materials mixed, as he says.
So he wouldn't say anything is wrong with that at all. It's just whether or not you as an individual choose to. Like, if you want to run off and go live in a cave, you're perfectly free to do that, and no one is entitled to come and encroach on that. However, most people won't do that because obviously humans are social creatures, and so we would rather live amongst other humans. And so whatever kind of form that might take,
Yeah.
as long
I
as it's
actually had
voluntary,
a
then
socialist
Rothbard wouldn't have a
claim
problem with that.
because humans are social creatures. That's why we should consider socialism, because we're social creatures. No, no, no.
Well, I've never heard a socialist make that argument.
Yeah.
They usually do go for the social contract,
Yeah.
which of course is easily defeated.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no, I
and it's
mean, so
addressed
it's
in the
like, okay,
book.
but for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If your family is abusive and shitty to you, you have every right to separate yourself from them and join another group, or to not join another group, right? That's all it is,
Yeah,
right? That's
that freedom of association is yours
freedom of
inherently.
disassociation. Yeah.
But I don't feel as though it's healthy to, like, I don't know, encourage that. I think there should be obviously room for an understanding of it, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's necessarily constructive to or conducive to.
I don't think he was. I don't think he
I
was
don't think
advocating
that
for that.
I don't think that. I just think it's a consequence of the permissive aspect of things. Like the Chad pointed out to Yellow Hat and Yellow Hat Wojak, right? Like there's got to be some community cohesion, coherence, and like obviously the individual is the driver of production and productivity, but is
Mhm.
that all there is to life? Certainly not. As
No, of
even
course not.
Rothbard points out, like that is not the ultimate like end goal, or like nor should it be the
Yeah.
highest pursuit of man. It really should be the forming of, in my opinion, family bonds, community, a society that wherein your kids can do better than you.
And I
Like,
agree with that. I agree 100% with that. I don't think Rothbard would disagree.
no, I
Like I
just
said,
don't
it's
think that like he's willing to grant any sort of um enforcement measure on that. Like I don't see how he allows for any kind of coercion into that kind of
right.
uh
Yeah, coercion is not necessary for that to be a thing. Like for a
I
strong family bond or like a strong community bond, coercion is not necessary for that.
it's definitely necessary that the community stand up for itself and remove
Yes,
elements that are
right,
unhealthy.
right. Which is not the same as coercing you into being that thing. It would be like,
Well, what is it other than the
it'd be like okay,
motivation
if you
against getting your shit pushed in? Like,
it'd be like if I said, hey, Midget, I want you to come over to my house. You said okay, and then
I
or
didn't.
you said I want to come over to your house, and I said okay. The only thing is, whenever you come inside, you have to crab walk. From as long as you're inside my house, and you're like, well, I don't want to do that. And it's okay. Well, you can't come in. Well, now you have a choice. Do you want to crab walk inside the house, or do you want to leave? Right? Like it's the same thing. It's not coercion to set ground rules in an area. Like that's not a thing. So now, if you want to talk about like enforcement, obviously, yeah, exact coercion is needed for defense. Quest fanning. I don't know that that's true.
Well,
I'll get back
I know where
I'll get
he's
back to that.
going
But
with this, and I
yeah,
was going
yeah,
to bring this up as well. Is
okay,
that like okay? I like the idea because sometimes seawall bees like this, like oh well, another state will just roll in and roll over your ass, right? What
yeah,
about like? Don't you think that imagine just scenario. The United States is totally anarchist. Everyone is armed. Everyone governs themselves, and things are going okay, right?
Yeah.
But like there are other world powers, right? There are other states out there, and they all try and develop weapons. But like the best weapon systems are developed in the United States. Now, at the moment, the government totally like subsidizes, super high tech weapons
yeah, of
development on the part
course,
of a few corporations. That's regulatory capture. These government contractors, have basically a control. They've got the market cornered. Anyway, they develop all kinds of terrifying technology. And you would think that like other states could do something similar. I would argue not on the same level. Obviously, you'll get
hmm
China tier and Russian grade,
what's it called?
uh,
Chinesium.
yeah,
Chinesium
and
is a nickname
Indianium
for
and
pot metal.
Indian
Yeah.
and Indianium.
Yeah.
Like you'll get all kinds of
Stellinium.
crazy shit. Yeah, you'll get all kinds of crazy shit. Like and knockoff brands, but like the best will always be made in the US. So let's pretend for a minute that the U.S. is anarchist. It's everyone get. Don't you think that like other states would not only come to weapons developers from the United States as clients, so that we'd be selling these high-tech arms to, like, there would be a financial incentive for private individuals to develop,
Yeah, of
high-tech
course.
arms, right? And they would sell it to enemy states, but they would also be selling to private individuals in the United States.
Here's the thing,
So
though.
that I
What
would have a
if
fucking
the
hypersonic missile,
hold
motherfucker.
it,
So like,
hold
fuck
it.
you.
Hold it. The company is offered, hey, we want to buy your hypersonic missile, and we're going to give you 10 times as much for it if you only sell it to us and no one else. And they have the pocketbook to make sure that
until their competitors like sell at a cut rate to fucking.
I love these hypotheticals because it's always like it reminds me of like when you're a kid and you're playing outside.
Well, I love it.
And you're like
about it, like
you're like, well,
we can fall down these roads.
You don't have a shield.
A hypersonic missile behind every blade of grass, right? A hypersonic missile behind every blade of grass. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, Seawall, you wouldn't even have to trip. Seawall, you wouldn't even have to trip. America would still make the best fucking weapon systems, but they would be selling to private fucking citizens.
You're assuming that we can maintain a high-level complex commerce without
I have a motherfucking aircraft carrier.
Exactly.
1,600 fucking people on board.
So fuck you guys. And like,
guys, we're kind of going off the rails. I think we need to get into the phone call part of this.
I've got a McNuke
too. Midget might have more.
I do. Of course, I've got more.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck. All right, give me one. I'm out of whiskey, man. I need to go get more whiskey.
Just a heads up. I'm doing a hard exit at 10. So
all right,
we gotta make a choice.
Fair.
More midget.
That's fair. No, listen. Yeah. I'm sorry if we don't get to the calls tonight.
Yeah.
But this is important to me, and I really hope that we can,
you know what? This out. We got Villius trying to call in too.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
So,
all right.
So I'm sorry. You got to make a choice right now. More midget or call.
Well, that's fine. We'll do call-ins. That's fine. I think I've touched on all my points. Number one, it's super subversive. It's also written Jewish. It's so Hebrew. All right, it is, dude. It's culture critique. It's fucking. It's visceral, subversive.
Whether that's wrong.
No, not necessarily, but it's also not. It's also not trying to be right. It's strictly criticism.
It's also
more of a
heavily in a vacuum.
Right? It's the anatomy of the state. Right.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you can't ask. You can't ask for anything more. You really can't ask for anything more of it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But like, it immediately reminded me of the writing of Howard Zinn. It doesn't preclude. Like, Seawall, you don't have to trip. Like, another state wouldn't come just rolling over you because, like, in that sort of system, it's totally feasible that these people would have incentives to fucking perform at this level for every customer, right? Not just foreign enemy states, like every single.
Right, and then also, how many weapons do the United States government already send overseas, to enemy states?
What I'm pointing out is, I'm not talking about like states,
Okay, I'm gonna get more whiskey when you do this.
Grabbing up everything automatically. I'm saying that through osmosis, the state system will be more efficient when it comes to advanced economics. It always will be. So I argue that you will not get those weapons developers. They can't exist in the anarchist system. They don't have. The problem is they require too many specialized parts from coming from too many specialized areas, requiring people to be hyper-specialized. To be hyper-specialized individuals, people that are so trained and focused on a very specific skill set that has no other purpose.
I mean, it's just astrophysicists.
No, it's high-level engineering. We're talking extremely high-level engineering, stuff you do not see day to day. It's a skill set that is hyper-focused in one area. But we got to get to phone calls.
Yeah, let's get to phone calls. but you're wrong. No, I'm
All
just
right,
kidding.
hold on
listening.
before you go pulling Golden Leaf in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Villius
Yeah.
over here.
So we'll go into call and show several.
So High Leaf was here first, so we do need to give it to him.
Oh
But-
my god, it's gonna take half an hour, and
Yeah.
Villius is gonna do.
No,
his
we're gonna
fucking
give
thing.
we're gonna give him 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna give him 10 minutes.
So let's go to call and show room, guys.
All right.
Okay, there's Villius.
Yeah, he's ready, but
Okay.
and
Yeah.
is he second or third?
Look, I saw Villius in here earlier, but Jagger popped in before him, so I'm going to give you the call.
As I've been trying to bring in Villius, Leaf is
All
with
right,
us
so
every
all right,
week.
so here's what I'm gonna do. Since
Ed is
Villius
with
was
us
here
every
first and
fucking
then
week.
left, since he was here
Yeah.
first and left, we'll let Villius go second. But Golden Leaf has been here for quite a while.
Yeah.
So
So,
he's got 10 minutes.
okay, bringing in
Boom,
Leaf
hard
now.
out 10 minutes.
Okay,
All right, what's up?
you're on the
Golden
air,
Leaf?
Leaf.
You got 10 minutes, bro. Go.
Well, I don't know. I heard Midget call me out about just tracking trailer temperature for
Oh
me.
yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt attacked there, Midget. How dare you?
he's just bantering with you.
How's everyone doing?
Fantastic, man. Having a good conversation about Now to Be at the State. Have you read it?
No, I have not.
Should.
It doesn't take long.
It really doesn't, dude. It's like 50, the version I have is 55 pages, 53 pages, 55. It's real short, and most of those are the citations. Like citations will sometimes take up half the page, so like it's really not that long. It's actually like on par with the Communist Manifesto with how short it is. It's tiny.
Workers of the
Definitely-
world unite.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
nothing to lose but our chains. Yeah.
I will definitely have time because work is gonna change around because they're gonna be closing down the one building I normally work at for armed security because they're gonna basically gut the whole thing and just make it into apartments.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna
So-
say make it into a storage place, but apartments is
I mean,
Nine
apartments is
stories
a
of
storage
storage.
space for people.
right. It is the same, dude. It falls under the same fucking law too. It's rental. It's property rental.
Now, depending on what type of people they allow at the building, that's going to be an interesting one.
What do you mean? What are you implying there?
Section A. Section A. That's all I got to say.
I was gonna say, are we
There goes
going
the fucking
jogger? Are we going
Neighborhood.
parentheses? Like, which way are we going?
Yeah, are we
I have-
talking a high dollar condo or like a Section 8?
Well, it's in the business center of the town, so I'm guessing it's not going to be...
It's gonna be basketballs and not bagels.
Right.
No, it's going to be
Midget.
bagels without the basketball.
You think so?
Oh.
I mean, that's
from-
decent news for the local business economy.
From where...
Get a lot of new jewelry stores open up.
Well, it is like a good bar area. Like the place where it's stationed at has like a good nightlife, I guess, for the weekend because like there's like good amount of bars there and everything.
It's
A lot of argy
it's
bargy
yuppie
there
bait.
on
Yeah,
the
it's
regular?
yuppie bait.
No, I'm not talking like these are not like low class. These are like good, like I wouldn't say high class, but basically like I don't know like what the word would be, but like it's where young people would go.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of
yuppies,
loud music playing.
Young adult
Yuppies.
professionals. Yuppie.
Yep. And
Oh wait,
That
is
was
that
the
really what that stands for? Holy shit!
I believe so.
No,
young
adult
underpaid. Young underpaid.
professional. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. I didn't know that was actually an acronym. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's an acronym.
Oh fuck, I didn't know that.
It's
Okay,
It's
yeah.
from before our time.
Yeah, I guess so.
Stereotypical 1980s yuppies obsessed with material objects and financial success. A young person with a well-paid job and fashionable lifestyle. I think it stands
Yeah.
for young adult professional or something like that, or young
There you go.
professional.
Yeah,
something like
these
that.
people who were fucking
Yeah.
buying watches and
Yeah,
white
sorry.
stuff.
Young urban professional.
Young urban professional.
Oh,
Yeah.
young urban professional.
Yeah.
oh,
young,
Yeah, 'cause that
upward
was-
mobile professionals. Another
The
term.
Reagan era,
Mhm.
young person. Yeah, slick
Yeah.
hair and white collars.
Wolf of Wall Street, cocaine.
and totally.
I mean, yeah,
Me. Yeah.
because
it's all
that
about- That's
yeah.
peak libertarianism, you guys, right there.
Well, not
Not
speculation on the market, not really.
Yeah.
because the
That's propped
Yeah,
up by
'cause-
government, for sure.
Fucking Sam Harris.
yeah, 'cause I remember
No, that
that
was
place.
Tom Hartman. That was Tom Hartman. Peak.
But,
libertarian.
I do
Oh,
want to.
yeah, that one fucking guy. Yeah, he's like, we're at peak libertarianism, like as if, oh my god,
We're nowhere
as if we're
fucking
anywhere
near.
fucking close
I'm
to
a
it.
statist, and I know we're
Fucking
nowhere
statist,
near
dude.
that shit.
Right?
Why
It's
don't
like, oh my
you-
god.
What I imagine when that phrase was uttered, like John's head was like steaming with rage as he heard that.
No, I laughed, dude. I thought it was funny as fuck. I'm like, you fucking idiot. Like, either you're really fucking dumb or you're completely dishonest. Either way, I'm not gonna waste my rage on you. Like, you're
Yeah,
not
you
worth
short
it, really.
circuited. You
But,
short
like,
circuited from rage to humor.
right, well,
But-
yeah, because I'm just like, what? Like, imagine this person's life. Like, imagine thinking like this person. And then you have to be like, okay, what is libertarianism to this person? Oh, it's when people are like super selfish and greedy and, it's all this kind of nonsense. And I'm just like, all right, well, there's no reaching that person. Fuck them. Who cares? I'm gonna
Well, there you go. Ignore and vibe. Don't get black pilled off it. Just fucking take the clown pill. Ignore and vibe. Just fucking chill.
Yeah,
Focus
Right,
on
but,
what
yeah,
makes you
because like
fucking
I'm not
happy.
gonna argue with somebody about
Yeah,
this
dude,
shit.
don't
But if
waste
you
your
ask me a
time.
genuine question, I'm gonna answer it. Like,
There you
no
go.
problem.
And don't apologize for your answer
No.
either. Like
No, what? Why would I do that?
Right,
Like,
exactly. It's what you believe and they fucking asked. So
Right.
tell
But,
them.
So,
Let them know.
But my
Right.
my favorite I do want to get you guys' attention off something just to the weird fact I saw that I was looking this up. Apparently,
Or
the
did you
FBI
notice
took more.
something, Lee? What do you notice? What did you notice? Tell us.
The FBI taken more than they thought from.
Yeah,
Dude,
mentioned
Of
earlier.
course they
Melania-
fucking did. They
Melania-
took cocktail napkins and shit. They took thongs out
Also,
of, yeah,
apparently the
Songs out of
folders
the
marked
line.
top secret and classified were empty.
empty. Fucking faggot. Oh my
no,
God.
it's just one photo. Just Trump giving a middle finger.
No. They find a
And
hard drive.
God,
It's a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop.
that would be fucking amazing. What a
It's
great.
like-
Did that 4D chess? That is 4D chess, and that was not done.
Why am I thinking like it's a? Why am I thinking it's just a picture of him giving the middle fingers and like they flip the picture, it just says "you fucking thought, bitch."
Jesus Christ.
It's like,
dude.
fuck you,
Yeah.
feds.
This is totally the
'Cause
state
they-
trying to preserve itself.
Yeah,
And like what the, and what the fuck was with them taking clothes and like newspaper clipping?
Well,
like what
apparently
the?
in the boxes there were newspaper clippings and things like that. Maybe stuff Trump collected. I don't know.
Well, they took
Yeah.
everything. I'm not gonna
That's
take it for
why-
evidence or whatever.
that's-
Like, have me combed over, but yeah.
That's why
They-
I make
really
fun of
combed
the.
over.
That's why I make fun of the. Oh, have they never heard of Xerox machines before? You know Xerox a fucking cocktail napkin, bro. Like
No.
this shit is
Yeah.
in boxes. Like you're not Xeroxing every goddamn thing. Like it's documents. It's fucking folders. It's shit that you're not making copies of, dude. It's like it's assorted, various asunder and sundry shit.
I bet you anything there is going to be a couple agents that are going to give a real good look at Melania stuff because they are that type of creeps.
Sure, they want to
Right.
sniff.
It's like we don't
Yeah,
know. There could be
exactly, yeah.
evidence. Now, if you excuse me, I got to take this to a secret room, gentlemen.
Right.
I need to examine it.
Panties,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
No.
make sure that they're on the up and up.
But I'm looking at the time. We're hitting about the 10 minutes. So
That's right. You got
Yeah.
limited there.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, dude. We went too far on
Yeah.
this on tonight, so
We're
you guys gotta
bantering
suffer,
too
not
much.
us.
We're bantering too much.
Yeah.
We're pulling a redistribution on your golden leaf. You have too much
That's
time,
right,
so we're giving it to the
being
less
redistributed.
time.
Yeah, give it to
Yeah.
Jay. He's the less
No.
fortunate of us all. He needs all the time he
Vilius,
needs.
Vilius needs the
A lot
most.
of the attention.
Yeah. Well,
Jay,
keep
Jay
in
put me
mind,
out earlier,
So-
so I'm.
So golden.
I'm
Jay's
in this, dude.
So
I can't wait to get Vilius started on fucking socialism, bro. So you did
So,
this to
yeah, he
yourself,
should be-
first of all.
So
He should
Y'all
be
take care.
the end.
Have
Yeah.
a good night.
See you, Golden Leaf, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
showing up.
so
Oh, okay, bye.
Absolutely.
so we're
Appreciate
bringing
you being here. No
we're bringing
joke.
in
I'm just
Vilius, I
giving you
guess.
shit, bro.
All right, yeah, we're bringing Vilius.
Vilius, you're on the air.
Vilius, what's up?
You with us? Are you ready?
Oh man,
Well, just leave him
he's
there for
not.
a second.
Yeah, give him a minute. But it's time it started. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
It's
you
time
know.
to started.
I see. Well,
Do
whatever.
do
Dude.
do.
So,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I'm excited to get him on socialism and versus like.
Oh, we did that last
capitalism.
week. Though he should have been here last week.
No, well, we tried, but like
Oh, you
it
know what?
also ties into like the free market being obviously the ultimate. Like,
Real quick, I think he's on his mobile,
Mhm.
so we might have to like give him permission to come in.
Oh, got
So
it.
he can
Dude,
speak.
yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah. So.
Oh no! That got fixed, didn't it? Or maybe I don't know.
Get the update.
Yeah, we should have been updated, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I
Doesn't mean
dragged in Golden. We know he's always on mobile.
I never update my app.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's dumb. You should definitely update it. Let's move him real quick.
Mhm.
Midget, if you want to get a hold of him, see if he's ready, and then we'll pull Ed in the meantime.
So I'm dropping it
Yeah.
back and I'm grabbing an Ed.
Yeah.
Ed, you're on the air. You're the backup socialist. Go.
All right, Sadist, let's go.
So,
Sell me on the state.
sell you on the state. Well, I
Yeah.
think the only thing that I care about for the anatomy of the state is that the state can fondle my anatomy.
That's right, damn it. They can fondle these nuts. Fondle my anatomical nuts. Yeah.
So it appears that Jennifer Lawrence is having nightmares about Tucker Carlson.
Wait, what?
Jennifer Lawrence, the star of the
oh yeah, dude, I saw
Hunger
that. That's
Games?
such a stupid shit post. Like, why? She's dude. That's so. Oh, they're so retarded. These people.
Tucker Carlson is like the
yeah.
most milk
I've never
toast
heard of this.
of the populists.
Well, he's just really charismatic.
Yeah.
That's why he's such a threat to our democracy.
Yeah.
That's it. He's just charismatic. That's it. He doesn't have any kind of like hardcore opinions or anything. He doesn't have any extremist opinions.
I said he's milk toast.
Right. He's just charismatic. That's it.
The thing is,
He
he
just
occasionally
partnered-
slips back into his neocon programming.
Well,
The thing
he
with-
probably will or would if the environment were conducive to that. I mean, I
Well,
don't see
every
why
once
he
in a
wouldn't.
while,
No.
he does go a little Evangelo-con. He does go a little neocon.
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
why he doesn't.
He slips
just
into
play
it from
his
time to
fucking-
time.
He plays his role, dude.
Yeah.
He's still a pundit. He makes a living off of this. He has to.
Yeah.
Job.
well,
so-
he goes wherever the money goes. It's Tucker Carlson.
yeah, I mean he's a pundit.
Right.
But
he's
the
a
thing with-
fucking head. Yeah.
The thing with Tucker, though, the thing with that and Jennifer Lawrence, I mean, you know, when you hear things like that and her coming off like that, that's, you know, she does come off as a little bit crazy. And we've heard things like, because she was saying that, you know, what was it? One of the hurricanes that hit Florida was punishment from God for voting for Trump. I thought was that not her?
Might have been.
But she is
don't
still
know.
above the Vicky Mendoza diagonal, so I still would.
Well, all right. Thank you for that, Ed.
I mean,
Yeah.
she's older now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So
J-Lo?
I'm going into the settings right now if we can get Vilius in here. So I'm going to give him
Yeah.
temporary access.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
go into your settings.
Ha. I'll give you temporary access.
Oh
See how that
no,
works?
John. No, John, you have full all the time access. It's not temporary with you, big boy.
Oh shit! Did we sign a contract?
A social contract.
Oh shit! I didn't sign shit. I don't know about that. I didn't sign a social contract. No. To sign an actual notarized contract.
My Spanish is a little bit rusty, but CNN en Español reports Plebiscito Chile el rechazo la nueva constitución lidera tras el 40% del conteo de votos.
Thank
I
you
know
for
what
that,
L
too.
means.
Basically, what they're saying is
The
that
Constitution.
their new constitution got rejected, which has been in the news. I'll be talking about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, this is weird. Oh, never mind. He's already on the list. So, okay,
Gustavo Petro quote tweets that
There we
saying, "Revivio Pinochet."
Yep. Let Villius know I've re-engaged his permissions. He should be able to jump in here whenever he wants.
Yeah.
Are you going to re-engage my permissions? I promise I'll give up my addiction to Tel Aviv titties.
No.
No, you don't.
No,
I
you
can't
won't.
trust that promise
Was
as
it
far as I can throw you.
Jerusalem Jugs was the other one, right?
Yeah.
That was a really good one.
Jerusalem Jugs.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Jerusalem Jugs is a great name for a magazine. It doesn't exist. It should exist immediately. Like when they're wearing like IDF uniforms and shit with their titties out. Like I guarantee there's a market for that. Come on. If that doesn't exist, it should immediately.
As long as they put Mira Hirsch on the cover, I'm good with that.
I don't know who that is, but yeah.
I do, and that's all that matters.
Oh,
I guess so.
I'm getting something from Vil.
I think he's with us. He made it.
I see his icon. There we go.
He made it. All right.
So, Villius, have you any thoughts on Anatomy of the State by Murray Rothbard?
I didn't give him homework or anything. It's not like
Oh, how dare you!
Yeah, is that a book?
Yeah, it is. I'll give it to you tomorrow, dude, if you want it. It's only like 60 pages long.
It's legit. It's short as fuck.
What is it about besides the fact that it talks about anatomy?
Like I said, it's about these nuts. It's about these. No, really, it's Jewish as hell. But like, it's a subversive manifesto against the state in all its forms. Like, it's not untrue, but like, it's also very direct. It's worth a read. It's worth a read. It'll definitely engage your thought process.
It'll get your almonds activated.
Yeah, I don't think it'll put him far off a track though, because Villius, how do you feel about like the free market versus these fucking socialism as we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks? Please, why don't you engage in your trademark?
Want me to elaborate on socialism a bit more?
Do. Yeah, absolutely, please.
Okay, well, give a little history of my family. I don't know if I have done it, but my great grandparents grew up in they had 40 acres of land, and they were pretty well off compared to other farmers. Like and when the communist revolution took over in Russia and World War II came, they took everything from my great grandparents, and they sent all of them to Siberia. Well, basically enslaved them. Told a bunch of low-lifers that they can come over and take their stuff, and it was my grandmother got raped by these fucking commies. She still to this day is not the same, of course, so it was a lot of damage done. It was a lot of to my family lineage, and that's all part because of a Jewish Zionist communist agenda to destroy the Goyim,
Fucking face. Oh my god. You just went straight there. That's fantastic.
Are we entering Gaz Bowl territory right now?
Oh my god. No, not at all. It's just funny as fuck. Yeah. Holy shit. I love it. I mean, but I mean, yeah, that's so great. But I mean, about like it being a fucking loser mentality, and that the only real way to, even Rothbard kind of points this out, the only real way for men to achieve self-realization is through the works of their own labor, and like the transformation of common property into private property via the application of of personal labor, investment in time and energy, which are, obviously limited, and to which no one really ought to have a right. And that's what Rothbard writes about in the book, is that no state can claim a right to that simply because you're born in a geographical fucking area.
Right.
Now, like I said, it is extremely subversive. It's against all forms of all state. It boils immediately down, all the way down to the individual, which is not necessarily constructive. You can't have a purely individualist mindset and, run a fucking functioning community.
But the thing
you got
is,
to have others in mind. But also, yeah.
the book is
What about what is the
Well,
role
see-
of charity? What
Right.
how do we I wish I could help this person. There's got to be a way. Everyone gives up some responsibility. No one can give
Yeah.
everything
So-
to everyone. You have to be able to. There's got to be a system in place to help the invalids and your elderly, relatives. You should be making private investments in those efforts. Obviously, you should be
historically,
assisting your own
hang
family.
on.
But
So
we've
hang
been
on.
atomized past that. We've been atomized past that to a consumerist fucking. We're past that right now.
Yes, that's true. We are past that, so we rely on government to give that to us because we've been conditioned to do so. I think that this is one of the few times, as I'm not an edgy 14-year-old, so this is one of the few times when I reference Ayn Rand, and objectionism, right? Specifically objectivism. Objectivism is basically like doing what is in your best interest, which of course is misconstrued by people who have never read Ayn Rand as complete selfishness and not caring about other people. But what it really is doing what's in your best interest, doing what makes you happy. Which do you not when you give money to charity, when you give money to help somebody good? Well, it is in your best interest to do so, to feel good. Whenever you give money to charity and you feel good, or if you give money directly to a person, it makes you feel good, right? Then that is in your self-interest to do so. Or if it's your grandmother who you love a lot and you want to give her money, right? That's charity. That's still in your self-interest, right? It's basically the idea that every action you do is a selfish act, but it doesn't mean that it only benefits you, right? It means that it also benefits other people because it is in your best interest as a social creature to benefit other people.
And that
Right.
ought to be the motivation, not this state coercion
Right.
on people.
Right.
Because
Not me coming up to you, putting a gun to your head, saying, "Give me $20," and then I give $5 to the homeless guy down the street. Right?
Yeah,
That's not the same thing. That's not charity. You giving money to the government because you're forced to, and they give some of it to somebody's elsewhere is not charity. That's still theft, no matter what.
Most of it goes to that administrative fucking state.
Right. Yeah. And then they lose fucking 10 of it in the gutter, and then they give 5 to somebody else, and they have 5 for themselves. No, it's not.
It's a horribly
not charity.
inefficient system.
Right.
Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Well, I just switched from my phone to a computer. That's why.
Yeah.
Nice.
What did he say?
That'll be more. Yeah, that'll probably work better for you anyway.
Yeah. Definitely being on a PC or being on a computer will definitely be better.
But yeah, dude, for sure. That communist state though is taking his family's land and productivity and shipping them away from it and putting criminals on the property, literal degenerates.
And this is what I was talking about before, right? When we talked about the difference between collectivists and groups of people. Right? Where collectivists are people who believe that the group's rights trump the individual's rights, whereas a group of people are just a group of people, right? There's a
tribe. A tribe, though, a nation is tribes, and tribes are families, dude. And families make communities. Families form communities, and fucking
Right, but
dude,
if your brother is I'm not gonna say a bastard. I was gonna say a bastard,
yeah.
but like that's a different connotation. If your brother's a piece of shit, like why would you give him money to continue to help him with whatever bullshit he's doing?
That's
Right?
the
Like
fucking that's the rip when it comes to like this racial socialism. This fucking that's the issue with like any white nationalism is like they're degenerate, you know, of all kinds. Like there's all kinds of people you wouldn't want in your fucking society. How do
right,
you deal with them? How you can't make a hard and fast rule and say, well, you know, you're white / black / Asian, whatever the fucking, you know,
right.
race
That's
du
why you look
jour
at people
is.
as
Like,
individuals. So you look at people as individuals and you deal with them as such based on what they're
but
presenting.
is the family not fucking important? Like, here's the
I
family, I guess.
I do think it's important, yes, but I don't think that every single family is going to be functional. So you can't
Yeah,
just like
true.
say, okay, well, family is the most important because sometimes that's extremely detrimental.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, depending on the
I mean,
relationship.
yeah, absolutely. So family is not just. I know this might sound a little like subversive or Jewy or whatever, but family is not always the people that you have shared blood with, but it is also people that you choose.
Yeah,
Like there's a mix between the two, right? There are people that I don't talk to in my family, in my blood family,
yeah.
because they're pieces of
Like
shit.
a yeah.
Fuck
It's
them.
like it is like a colloquial term. Colloquialism, really. It's
Right.
like your tribe. It's like your
It's the people around you that love you and that you love them and you support them and they support you.
there
Like
are
that is
few,
family.
man. It's few. These people are fucking few.
Right.
Do
So
you guys believe the colleges and universities are completely they're not educational, they're indoctrinational at this point?
90% I would say yes. Yeah.
Certain specialized fields still
They
are.
withstand
Amen.
Yeah,
subversion at the
yeah,
moment. They're
yeah,
withstanding subversion
yeah,
largely to a
Uh,
degree.
I don't even know about
Largely.
that
Right?
necessarily.
Yeah, even they are being subsumed.
Like even
But like
sim fields are, that was a big thing. What 5, 7 years ago? Get more women into STEM, which means get
yeah.
and
more,
it
And
backfired.
the Unix community is totally grappled.
Yeah,
Like it's totally
but
subverted
the
by like trannies and freaking you know, alphabet people and their
yeah,
intersectional interests.
but if you look
yeah,
around, you still can and will find the guys that were pushed out. They're still operating. It's just they go to different communities. You
Well,
can't.
the DOE
they're just not
was
being published. They're just
Yeah,
not being,
yeah. They're in open
um,
source. They're in smaller open source
amplified.
communities
Yeah,
that will likely supplant the other ones.
the
You know.
the the Department of Education was founded, you know, a generation ago, and it only takes one generation to demoralize the
yeah,
society.
Do you
yeah. Like
guys
I said,
believe
I
that
started kindergarten 15 years after the Department of Education was established. I was 5 years old in 1995. Right, it was established in 1980. I can do that kind of math. That was an easy math. Um, but um, but yeah, like and so I went through my entirety of um,
Mhm.
public school until 10th grade when I went to a private school finally.
Mhm.
Like, and yeah, it's all designed to teach like obedience over anything else. Like it really
Well,
is.
it's based on the
No, of
Prussian
course,
school system, which was designed to develop "quote unquote" good soldier
yeah.
citizens.
Well, what's really funny is, ironically, when I went to military school
Mhm.
in 10th grade, I actually felt like I learned a lot more and that I was actually able to like freely think. It
Well,
was the first time in my life that I had actually had free thoughts that I was actually able to be like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? What
well,
about,
I mean, there's a
whatever?
difference
Which is
between
really funny
there's a
to
difference
me.
between
It's just
blind
ironic. That's all.
obedience and respect of legitimate authority. There's a difference between those two things.
Yeah.
But
Well, and actually, I had actual respect for
Yeah.
the teachers because they had earned my respect, as opposed to like, oh, I have to respect them.
no.
But it was because like they had, they would answer those kind of questions. They were there for that. Like, I mean, I'm sure they were much more well paid than public school teachers. But yeah,
Do you guys believe women should have the ability to vote?
I don't think anyone should vote.
I'm a believer in
Anyone.
the poll tax, so if you pay the tax, you get the vote.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should vote. So we're pretty desperate, pretty different.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
this issue, on this show.
Yeah, Seawall is conducive to. He wouldn't call it a state necessarily, but like
Well, it is a state. It's
community-
It is. It's a minimal state,
Yeah, it's a
but
minimal
community
state.
that governs itself through collective individual action.
Mhm.
Like
with a
collectively
limited central
enforced
authority for
individual
dealing
action.
with the
If
edge
you-
cases.
what's funny is if you read Anatomy of the State, Rothbard talks about monarchists without, he doesn't name them, but he talks about like the attempts to minimize the power of the state failing throughout the centuries.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
John?
always like what did he say? A fucking gradual increase or reversal of language to like formulate an opportunity to gain.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Do you get paid every time you mention Anatomy of the State?
I mean,
That's what we're
I don't
here
wanna-
to talk
I don't wanna
about,
mention
though.
that, but that's the whole point of tonight's episode.
I just meant in general because you name drop it constantly.
Well, that's what we were talking
I
about.
follow your
tonight.
Twitter. I
That's
see
what
what
we're
you
talking
do.
about. Like, because I legitimately want to push that book.
It's he believes it's the gateway drug.
It is. It really is the gateway to anarchy. It's not the first. It's only the first step. It's not the end all be all, right? And I want Mijjt to understand that as well. It is not the end all be
Obviously,
all.
yeah, like it's
But
not.
it is a great baby step. It
It's
is
not
baby's
visionary
first,
by any means. It's not visionary. It's entirely critical.
right. It is baby's first step, right? From going from minarchy to anarchy. That is the first step. You go from that. You go to Lysander Spooner's No Treason. And then you go to, Hans Hermann Hoppe.
Have another drink.
Democracy of the God That Failed, right? Then there's a whole plethora of shit to go to after that. Like that's when it really, after that book, it really fucking spreads. But
Well,
I
all right.
do think that we need to wrap it up, though.
Yeah, I guess we'll end the internet portion of this discussion and just carry on off the air.
Quite. So yes. If you enjoyed what you saw tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you join our Discord server so that in the future you can call in when you would like to. We also have dank memes, dank and fresh memes. Often discussions whenever you want. Bam, there they are. And we will see you guys not this Friday, but next Friday for Drinking with the Boys. But you can also see Mijjt on Monday, this coming Monday, for his playthrough of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So make sure you check that out as well. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good night, y'all.